Hi there and welcome, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a look at making a Mexican centerpiece today. The same centerpiece can be used for a Texas centerpiece or a Western centerpiece. We can just change the actual overlay then. Let's have a look at a few things we're going to need. First of all, we have our Hessian. It doesn't have to be a very large piece. We can just use some offcuts. We have a little kitchen knife with a smooth blade. We have a normal white candle, some rope. We have our newspaper, a scissor, any old wine bottle, whiskey bottle, doesn't matter. And then some plants. These you can buy at your local nursery and get a few different sizes because it creates quite a nice depth when you put it together. So let's get our table cleared and we can start making our centerpiece. What we'd like to start with first of all is our bottle. Now we're going to make quite a bit of a mess, so let's cover up our area with our newspapers. And you can have a few layers because we are going to work with the melted wax. We don't want it to go through and leave oily marks on your table or your tablecloth. Okay, so if I've got my area right, we've got our bottle here and my candle. So what we'd like to do is to light our candle, and this is a very long process, so please don't try and do it in a few minutes only. And quite simple, we want to start getting the melted wax on our bottle. So we're going to keep on rotating our bottle and we'd like it to create lovely drips. And you can decide yourself how do you like the patterns, and keep on turning your candle as well so it doesn't burn only on the one side. And like I said, this does take quite a bit of time. So there we have it. We want to still keep a little bit about of the candle left so we can reuse this. The thing is, we don't want to use a brand new candle in the bottle because we want the very old, worn out look on our centerpiece. So now when we are done with our bottle, if you're happy with it, you can add more wax, you can do a little bit less, it's up to you. What we want to do is use our little kitchen knife, and just because our candle at the moment can't fit into the bottle, and we don't want something that's going to be unstable, and once you light the candle it's going to tip out on the day of your event. So what we want to do is just carve a little bit of the wax away at the base. And remember, rather do a little bit, see whether it fits, and then you can do a little bit more than having to redo the whole thing because you took away too much of the base. Please be careful when you are pushing it in that you don't snap your candle. And you can see I am turning it a bit, so it's creating a little bit of wax over here. So what you then can do is just melt that as well. And I just wanted to create a little bit of a ridge over here. Okay, there we go. Now we can move on to our pots. Our candle is now ready for use, and we can take away our newspaper over here so we can move on to the little Hessian pots. If you did get plants with beautiful pots, you could decide to leave the pots as it is. But if you get your normal nursery pots, we'd like to cover it. Also, we want to bring in the Hessian because it brings in a little bit of the rough texture to your centerpiece. So what we want to do is make sure your Hessian is big enough for your piece. And what we're going to do is just grab it up here all together. Then we want to take our rope and just roughly tie it around so we can cut away the sides. Make sure it's nice and tight because we are going to cut now and we don't want it to slip off in the middle of it. Okay, and then we can take our scissor and we're just going to cut away. And remember, this is a Mexican centerpiece or Western centerpiece, so we don't want to cut neatly necessarily because it is a very rough theme. Okay, and we can just rearrange it and retie our rope. Also make sure that it is high enough so it doesn't slip off and that your rope is very tight. Move that a bit. Okay. You can pull it through here. That's our one part done. I already cut the piece for our little one, so we can just tie it together, and we're just going to do the exact same thing here. Okay, make sure again it's nicely pulled through. And what we're creating is basically a cluster centerpiece for the Mexican theme. Now what we want to do is just clear out the table quickly and we can put all the elements together and see how the final product looks like. And there we have it. So all I've done was add a colorful overlay that picks up our decor very nicely, and we placed it in a cluster, and we have our Mexican centerpiece. A very fun, colorful theme to use. Please keep watching our videos and see what we come up with next time.